Well, God bless you all. This is Neil Ellis, the presiding bishop of the Global United Fellowship, and I am so elated to have this opportunity on behalf of Patrice and the family and the wider members of the Global United family in 36 countries around the world. I have the wonderful opportunity to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Christmas and the celebration of Christmas points to the manifestation of the independent nature of God doing His own thing, directing His own agenda, calling His own shots, and defying all the odds without asking any questions or waiting around for anybody's approval. Christmas is the celebration of the birth of a baby whose birth changed everything. And the thing about it is, that baby was not even born in a good place. He was, according to scripture, born king, but was born in a manger. Why? Because there was no room for him in the inn. If Christ were not born, human history would really be a problem. It would be very different today. That's why it's interesting that when the Bible speaks about the fullness of time, it had the same connotation of a pregnant woman who had finally reached the moment of giving birth. When reading the scripture, you get the impression that all of time had been pregnant, and now its birth was finally here. That's why, my brothers and sisters, it is important for us to pause and reflect on the Christmas story and the celebration of the fullness of God's plan entering our time and space. That's what you need to get into your spirit this Christmas as you celebrate for your life, in your careers, as it relates to your dream, for what it is you've been pregnant with. You've got to see this Christmas as the fullness of time. And when the fullness of time had finally come, when the appropriate time had arrived, when the right time had fully come, God sent forth His Son to be born of a virgin. I believe this Christmas is the fullness of time for all of you. And now, as we come to the closing days of this year and begin to tiptoe into a brand new year, I want to pause for a moment to reflect on all that we've been able, through the grace of God, to accomplish in 2016. Indeed, what a year it has been. Crowded, but it's been an awesome year. We really got started in March when we were able to make history, partnering with the United Nations. We were blessed to have been invited to conduct a one-day summit at the United Nations, focusing in on some of the sustainable goals as they relates to peace and justice and poverty and the likes. This was the first time in history that a religious organization had been invited to come in to the New York headquarters and conduct an interfaith summit there at the United Nations. Ladies and gentlemen, there have been so many spin-offs from that event that I believe only eternity will reveal all that God was able to do through our coming together in that fashion at that summit. And then, of course, later that month, it was our annual time of pastors coming together in a planning, kind of relaxed atmosphere to look at all that we needed to do in 2016. And this year we were able to meet in Winston-Salem. And I tell you, God really blessed, and He blessed miraculously. We had an opportunity to come together and do so many things, and at the same time settle the consecration for the new bishops that were consecrated in July through the Bull of Intent. That was a major meeting, and I thank God for all of our pastors who were involved. And then, of course, our annual meeting in July of this year, we met at the Baltimore Convention Center in Baltimore, Maryland, the 12th through the 15th of July. Now, you know, I really don't want to get into this because, you know, it really was, in all sense of the word, a historic meeting. And people are still talking about it. As a matter of fact, as we come down to the close of another year, we are seeing record numbers as it relates to registration for this time in the year prior to the gathering. So we are excited about what's coming up, and I'll talk to you about that later. Of course, in October, we made history again because Global United Fellowship was able to, in partnership with Dr. Jerry Anderson and the Global Solutions Group, we were able to bring 100 of our pastors together for what was called a 7 Mountain Pastors Retreat. And we met, of course, in Millersburg, Berlin, Ohio, at the headquarters of this group led by Dr. Jerry Anderson. And boy, I tell you, as a result of that meeting, you're gonna see some new things happening in July 2017 at the gathering. In addition to all of that, of course, this year, a number of our pastors, upon the invitation of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, journeyed to Israel for a Holy Land pilgrimage. Not in the traditional sense of the word, even though we incorporated some of the holy sites, but this was really to get into the trenches, to go into the highways and byways of Israel, to meet with some significant partners there in Israel, and to participate in the feeding of the hungry and the homeless there in Israel. This was one of the most touching experiences I've ever had. And so in September, I led a delegation along with Patrice and I think roughly 30 pastors and leaders from our fellowship. And we were so pleased with the level of the hospitality that was displayed by the leadership of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. To wrap up the year, there are a number of our leaders who've just returned from El Salvador, and this is in Ecuador, and I'm telling you, this was another partnership with the Compassion International Group, and of course we are looking forward as a result of this trip to the Global Compassion Month in the month of March of next year. Talking about next year, let's kind of get a glimpse quickly of what will be happening in 2017. Of course, our planning meeting for the pastors, which is taking on a new twist this year, is going to be in March. That's the 27th to the 29th of March, and we're going to be at the Sheraton Airport Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia. There's some major things being planned for that meeting, the likes of which you've not yet seen. So don't think you got us down packed now. Oh no, this is gonna be a fresh and a powerful time of coming together with just the pastors of our fellowship. The Gathering 2017, we are gonna be at the Joseph Corey Convention Center in Greensboro, North Carolina. Almost 2,000 people here as I talk to you in December of 2016. Almost 2,000 people are registered already for the 2017 gathering. It's gonna be popping this coming year. You don't want to miss it. A number of us are on our way back to South Africa, and we're gonna be there at the South African gathering. Do you know that since the last gathering in July, almost 35, well, almost 40, because it's 35 plus, I guess, maybe, churches have joined the fellowship from South Africa. And so we're talking about 4 or 5 different parts of Africa now coming together in Cape Town. And a delegation from this part of the world will be joining me there as we work with them and fellowship with them and come together with them in the South African gathering. Of course, pulling up the rear of the 2017 year is gonna be the 2017 Global United Fellowship Leadership Summit. That's coming up. Stay tuned for more details on that. It's been a full year this year. It's gonna be an even exciting year next year. I wanted to take this opportunity simply to say Merry Christmas and God bless you. Let me thank the leaders of our fellowship, members of our executive council, members of our governing council, our metropolitan bishops, our provincial leaders, and other officers of our fellowship. Thank you so much for working with the agenda this year. And I look forward to an even stellar year in 2017. God bless you and God keep you. And you remember, as we go forth now into a brand new year, let's start to dream again. Eyes have not seen, neither have ear heard, and your mind has not yet been able to conceive all that God has in store for those of us who love Him. And I know for the most part, I'm talking to people today who love the Lord. It's going to be a great year as we look forward to it, and I hope to talk to you soon, very early in the new year. God bless you and God keep you. Merry Christmas, everyone.